Hi guys, this is Ken. Welcome back to another video. This is the second one today actually. So yeah, so this idea just came to me just now. Sorry, just still recovering from my horrible flu. So this video idea just came to me just now. I had thought about it before, but it's something that is really personal to me, and yeah, and it's about how I really don't want my pain to have been all for nothing. Everything I've been through to have all just been for nothing. And I think that is something that I have struggled with for the longest time because my mom got married when I was 3 to my stepdad, right? He had a child when I was 4, and at that point, that's when the abuse began towards my mom and me. Um, and that went on for years and years and years and years. And then in that period, my mom lost four children, right? Lost 4 children, and then I lost my dad with in my last little sibling within 6 months of each other. And so I grew up in a very unsafe environment, like it was like really really bad. It was so bad that I was scared to come back home from school. And out in the world I would be so happy. I would be this really really happy child, really full of life and ever so happy. I still am the person, thank God. But underneath all that was someone who was just crying for help, or just someone who was begging, just begging someone to come save me. An unknown person, I don't know. I just wish for it all to end. And despite all that happening, I never got to a point where I thought, this world is cruel, this world is so unfair. I did think the things that happened to my mom were unfair and that she did not deserve it because she's such an amazing human being. But I never thought like that when it came to myself. I just thought, you know what? Everyone goes through things. This is just the things I have to go through. And so me being yelled at, me being hit almost every day, all those things, I almost felt like, okay, maybe I do deserve it. Maybe there's just something inherently wrong with me. Like there's just this huge flaw, and maybe I do deserve this, right? And I think I used to tell myself that so that I would feel a little bit more control and like I had everything figured out, because I couldn't understand someone like slapping me over something so minor, right? Or someone screaming at me, someone berating me when I'm like 8 years old. I could not truly understand that. And so I used to tell myself, it's my fault, it's your fault. It's because you deserve this, right? And so when I think about all that, and right now I turned 22 last month, and when I think about everything that has happened in my life, the things that I learned, and I feel like they became a big part of who I am, is me not being quiet when something is happening to someone, and me not ever, ever excusing or defending an abuser, because that's something I grew up with. I grew up with someone who was openly abusive, and I couldn't do anything because I was a child. And so I almost made a vow and I promised myself that I would not let this happen whilst I know it is happening. I would not allow it to happen to someone if I can do something about it, right? And so when I look at everything that has happened, I've always feared that what if it all just was for nothing? Because that is something that almost cracks the armor that I have built on myself, because I almost want it to have some meaning, to not just have been something horrible that happened that I cannot speak on and say, okay, this happened, but I am better for it. Because whilst in most ways, the most beautiful ways, it is true. I got more empathy from that, and I became more compassionate and more understanding, right? But at the same time, my trauma traumatized me. There's just nowhere way around that. It gave me fears around the world, and it affects to this day how I view people, because because I grew up with someone who was so horrible. I do not truly and like fully trust anyone. I don't think I'm capable of doing that. Unfortunately, I'm not capable of doing that, and I always have an escape plan. It's not even conscious sometimes. Most times, not even a conscious decision. It just I'm always ready to leave and start over or to go on to the next thing. You know, whenever I feel unsafe or if I see some signs of unsafety, and that's something I still struggle with. And yeah, I always have to protect myself. I always have to have an escape plan in order so that nothing surprises me. I'm always prepared. I'm always prepared somehow. And I think that's the reason why I've always been okay somehow. I've always wound up okay. I think it's because of that. And it is a good thing sometimes, but it can, yeah, sometimes it does affect things because you you see one little red flag and your mind goes, oh no, I have to escape this. And then you do that. And then because and then you think, wait, maybe this person was just being human. Because as humans we all make mistakes. But then when you see a little bit of a pattern, you're like, absolutely not, I'm not doing this. Because when you get abused so young, right, and you have no escape, when you finally do, you have the ability to walk away. That's what you do. You will never choose pain over, you will never choose staying if it means pain. You will absolutely choose walking away. You would never choose pain over staying. Absolutely. You will absolutely choose to walk away and leave it all behind rather than risk getting hurt. Right? And yeah. So yeah, that inability to choose pain of walking away is just something that is like truly at my core, and it's not even something that I know that I know like consciously when I'm doing it, but it's something that is always there. So yeah, I do hope that one day, not even one day, I feel like I'm ready. Started to do that. I just want a world that is a little bit safer, especially for children. I just don't want any of the things that happen to me to happen to anyone else. And I do hope, I do hope, like in the near future, I have enough power to actually protect as many children as I can. Because yeah, it's really awful. No women and no children should go through that. No one really should go through all those things that my mom and I went through. And yeah, there might be a little bit of a silver lining when you think, oh, I became a better person because of it. But not everyone gets out a better person. And by being a better person, I don't mean being perfect. No, I just mean understanding pain and not wishing it on anyone, but also having the ability to absolutely cause it, because you absolutely are strong enough to punch back and even harder, but you refuse to because you know pain, right? And so you would never throw the first punch. So yeah, all that has made me want to do as much good as I can, because like I said in another video, that I have this sense that I am not gonna get to grow old. And so I want to do as much good as I can in the time that I do have. And yeah, because I fear everything that has happened to me, all my pain, I fear it just being for nothing, for it to not be the reason that someone can get up out of bed one day and think, no, he went through all this, but he still wants to help. He still wants to do as much as he can for other people. and that has always been my fear. And but I'm gonna do everything I can to do as much good as I can, to make as much a difference as I can, because I would absolutely hate for my life to just be about me. That is the worst thing that could happen to me. Like genuinely, that is like the most horrible thing that could happen to me. Is for me to just live my life for myself. This video like genuinely can get quite sad. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And to whoever is watching this, if you've been through things and you still find a reason to be gentle to the next person, then not all is lost. Just hang in there. You'll be okay. I promise. You'll be okay. That some days will be harder than others, and some day really there doesn't seem to be a reason to keep holding on, and you just wish for someone or something to take away the pain. But I promise you, you will be okay. You will be okay.